Welcome back to Cosmetics Anonymous. I am your favorite baby mama bougie vintage, and today's video is a story time. This one is a little touchy for me, and it's also short, I guess. I'll try to drag it out a little bit because I know you guys like my longer stories, but yeah, this happened in 2013. And that's around the time that Shooter and I were looking for our first apartment together. And if you guys watched the Landlord Storytime, well, then you know that our apartment search was truly a struggle, and it didn't get, it never got easy. And it didn't turn out for the better either. There's this building, and it's on top of a store. It's on top of like a Max Milk. And it's on Lawrence. Is that right? Yeah, it's on Lawrence, I believe. Lawrence Ave. I'm telling you guys where the building is so you know that the owner of the building is racist. It's on top of a Max Milk, and there's not a lot of these types of buildings in Scarborough, but this was one. And some of Shooter's family had lived in the building for years, and so we thought it would just be easier to get in that way. If you know somebody that lives in a building, it's a lot easier to get into the building. So basically, his cousin, the one that he's really close with, lived in the building as well, and we were always at his cousin's house. And so he knew we were looking for an apartment. He's like, oh, there's one down the hall that just opened up, you guys should apply there, blah blah blah, and like we'll put in a good word for you. Our aunt will put in a good word for you guys, like, you guys will probably get it. So because it's crunch time and we need to find an apartment, obviously, we're like, yeah, for sure, like I wouldn't mind living here. We're here all the time anyway. It's close enough to get to work and stuff. Like, it's a good location. So we meet with the landlord. It was a lady. She gives us an application. We both take an application. At the time I was working, I think, for Rogers. Girl, I think I got some Rogers story times for y'all. But I was working for Rogers at the time, so I had a full-time steady income. Shooter was working as well, and so it was perfect, you know what I mean? It was a good situation for us, and we wanted to move in. So we get the application from the lady. She didn't seem like anything was wrong with her, and she basically told us, like, just fill out your applications, bring them back, have your references and some pay stubs, and I've already spoke to your aunt and your cousin, so I know that you guys are cool and I have no problem renting to you guys, blah 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 blah, all this stuff, but she didn't have that same energy, and I'll get into that in a second, when we came back, okay? And so the apartment actually needed to be renovated, and so we weren't supposed to move in, I think, for a month because it needed renovations. And so we were in there regularly while it's being renovated, and Shooter was helping renovate, okay? Did you hear me? Shooter was helping to renovate this apartment. We done picked the towels for the bathroom, the towels for the walls in the bathroom, like in the shower. We picked the towels for the kitchen. We picked out everything. We were supposed to move into this apartment because I brought my pay stubs. He brought his pay stubs. We brought our references. Everything checked out. They did a credit check. It was A1. We was okay to move in. So, oh my gosh. So, like I said, Shooter was helping renovate this apartment. So at this point, we're like, oh my gosh, this is our first apartment. We're excited. We're gonna move in. For some reason, they decided that we were not going to move into this apartment. I don't know why. I don't care why. But all I know is that the daughter of the lady that owns the building took it upon herself to tell her mother that Shooter and I were arguing in the lobby of the apartment. First of all, there's not really a lobby there because as soon as you walk in, it's up the stairs into the apartments. There's no lobby. But she told her mother that Shooter and I were arguing in the lobby, and I was getting loud and aggressive. When I tell you guys, me and Shooter, first of all, we don't argue in public. And secondly, we don't argue because there's nothing to argue about. We have a great life, okay? Before, after, doesn't matter. Like, we never used to argue. There was nothing to argue about because we didn't have, like, we weren't living together yet. And there was just nothing to argue about. So we didn't really have a lot of arguments. Like it wasn't a factual statement that she was making, because one, I had never seen the lady in my life. I never ever had seen the daughter before. And two, there was nothing to argue about. Like I said. So she made up some story. I guess she saw me, saw that I was blizzack, and decided that it's a no-go. So this is the daughter, not the mom. So the daughter takes this false, fake news information to her mother, tells it to her mother, and then one day we're over chilling at his cousin's house. I don't know if Shooter was I don't know what happened. I don't know if he went to go check to see like what the status of the apartment is, like how soon we're gonna get to move in, because it was coming up to the end of the month. So keep in mind, we thought this whole time that we were moving into this apartment. So we're hanging out at his cousin's house, and so Shooter went to go talk to the lady, and I didn't go with him, and she lets him know that she's not gonna be able to rent to us. And he's like, I don't understand. I've helped renovate. Our credit check's good. Everything's good. You told us everything was fine. What's changed? And she didn't really want to answer him, but she did not. I guess because I wasn't there, she decided she was going to answer him anyway and tell him the truth and tell him that her daughter saw me and Shooter arguing, and I was getting loud and aggressive and boisterous. She's rented to a black girl, not a black person. She rented to a black girl before, and they had lots of issues, and they had to call the police all the time and all this stuff. And I'm just like, the fuck that gotta do with me, bitch? So all black people are the same or what? Like, I was so freaking pissed. Okay, I was livid when Shooter came back and told me this. So anyway, she's telling Shooter this, and he's like, what? Shooter's pissed because he's just like, one, none of this happened. We didn't argue. And two, what does another person that you rent to have to do with my lady? Like, what does that have to do with her? So the lady's like, yeah, I'm sorry, but we're not gonna be able to rent to you guys. And so obviously, no point in beating a dead horse. What are we gonna do? Freaking, like, what are we gonna do? Beat up the landlord? No. So we just had to take the L and keep it the F pushing. So Shooter comes back, and he doesn't want to tell me what the lady said to him, because I had a reason to be loud, aggressive, and boisterous in the damn lobby. Like, now I have a reason to be loud and aggressive and boisterous, okay? And so Shooter comes back and he tells me what happened, and I didn't get angry. I got really sad. I'm getting sad right now. I didn't get angry. I got really sad because that was the first time that, sorry y'all know I'm pregnant now. But you know what we say, our makeup looks a little too nice to be crying over some 2013 shit, okay? As soon as Shooter told me that, I got really, really sad, really quiet, and I was fighting back tears, because that was the first time as an adult that I felt like my skin was an issue, you know what I mean? And it wasn't something that I was able to just brush off. It still sits with me today. Like, I didn't get an apartment because I was black. It doesn't make any sense. And so when Shooter told me this, and I'm taking it all in, I'm like thinking this man's joking. I'm thinking he's joking. I knew he was serious, but I'm like thinking to myself, this is a joke, right? Like, that's not really what this lady said. She couldn't be so feisty to say that, but it wasn't a joke. She was serious. Her daughter was and I didn't see why she would make up such a blatant lie to avoid me living somewhere. Like, why would you? It was like she had a vendetta against me. It was like we knew each other or something. Like the daughter knew me, and we had beef or something, and she was deciding that she wanted to stop me from being great. You know what I mean? That's how it felt. And that wasn't the case, because like I said, I had never seen this lady in my life. I don't even know how she knew I was black, because me and her never had crossed paths before, unless one day she saw me in the hallway, or unless her mom told her who the new applicants are, a black girl and a white guy. And you know, I don't know how the whole shit went down or why it went down, but it did. And so I was devastated. I was really heartbroken, not only because of that, but because I needed somewhere to live. I was looking for an apartment. I had my heart set on the apartment. I was in there regularly because I wanted to, you know, lend a helping hand whenever I could, and Shooter was in there regularly. And imagine Shooter being in there, putting in all that work, picking tiles, helping them install tiles, like literally doing work in the apartment because we think we're gonna move in there, and then they basically got free labor, and then just to find out that we can't live there because the color of my skin. Girl, what? So, like I said, I was really upset, and I really wanted to say something to the landlord, but I was at such a crossroads with it because I just felt like I don't want to come off as what they're calling me. And that's the hardest thing to deal with as a person of color. It's the hardest thing to deal with, not appearing to be what the people are saying you are as a stereotype. And so I had to bite my tongue in that moment, and I was just feeling so many emotions. I was feeling so I just felt sick to my stomach. And so, and you know what's crazy? Let me backtrack a little bit. We were calling her and trying to get a hold of her for probably a couple days, and she wasn't responding. And so it was just like, okay. It's because we were ready to give her our first and last, and she wasn't responding. And so that's actually why Shooter had gone to the office to check her, because he was like, why is she not responding to our messages? We got money for you, sister. Like, why aren't you answering us? You know what I mean? And so because of that, that's why he went to go see her in the first place. And she didn't even want to. She was like avoiding us. And so she didn't want to, I guess, relay this message to him or give him the news that we won't be able to move in. Anyway, fast forward, we leave that night, and of course I'm upset and I'm really kind of down. And even though Shooter understood what was happening, he didn't know how to console me because he never had to deal with that, and it wasn't on him, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't anything to do with him why we didn't get an apartment. Had it been a criminal record, check, bitch, we wouldn't have got the damn apartment. But it was just being black, being black, that was the issue. That actually happened out here, where in Ottawa, a lot of the apartment buildings do criminal record checks, and like if you have a criminal record, even if it's something really small, you can't move into the apartment, or they like do like, I don't know what it is, but if you have a criminal record, you can't get into the damn apartment. And so that happened out here with us. Yeah, but in Toronto they don't do that because that's extra. Like, you're telling me, oh, because I was a criminal I can't live somewhere? Like, that's ridiculous. So, or because I did something bad I can't live somewhere? Like, you know, it's kind of crazy. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Funny enough, when we were leaving that night, we ended up seeing the daughter in the lobby, and she was staring at us as we were leaving. I didn't know it was a daughter at the time. Shooter waited until we had walked out the building to tell me that that's her daughter. And I was like, you little shit. You little shit. I could have went and beat her ass up. Okay, I was like, why is she so salty? Like, I really wanted to page somebody, anybody, the man on the bus. I didn't care. I really wanted to just take my anger out on somebody, but I couldn't. I just couldn't do it. Yeah, like I said, we had to take that L, and we didn't get the apartment. You know, it wasn't the nicest apartment, but it was still somewhere that we saw ourselves living until we didn't see ourselves living there. And what pissed me off even more was that the person that they gave the apartment to, girl, was a jobless person. A person that was on welfare. It was this old Caucasian man, but he is on welfare. Okay? So, you're telling me I have a good paying job, my man has a good paying job, everything checks out, and you're gonna give the apartment to somebody that is on social assistance. That pissed me off times 10. On top of the fact that he was Caucasian, okay? If it was somebody else on social assistance, I would have said, okay, go ahead. But it was this man, this able-bodied man, because he was also working on the apartment. He was like the contractor or whatever, and so they ended up giving the apartment to him. You guys, I was so pissed off. I wanted to punch holes in walls, okay? But yeah, that's basically what happened. Yeah, it's something that I'll never forget, and it wasn't a good time. It wasn't fun for me. But it was a learning experience, and I think if I was faced with that same issue now, I would have handled it way differently than I did in 2013. Because somebody needs to get these, somebody, if they're not getting these hands, they need to get this work with my tongue, okay? Like, I need to cuss somebody out, I need to educate somebody, I need to let somebody know something about something. My wig done slipped back, I didn't even know, girl. Hope I didn't look too crazy. But realistically, if it happened to me in 2017, it would be a lot different than it was back then. I would definitely have to speak up a little bit, because I don't know why I bit my tongue. At this point in my life, it's just like, if something like that does happen, you can't bite your tongue. You have to say something, because these things will keep happening to people like us if we don't speak up about it. And so, yeah. Because I'm dropping a story time now, I don't know if I will be dropping one on the weekend, so y'all better be happy. My baby shower is this weekend. I'm gonna be a busy bitch. I'm trying to get my videos done so that it's not an issue. This weekend, I want you guys to have consistency for me always. You know, I'm heading into my 9th month of pregnancy. And yeah, I want to be consistent the entire time. I'm so thankful for you guys for rocking with me. And that is why I'm treating you guys as story times, because I know you guys just live for them. Live for them. I really appreciate you guys so very much, and you guys have kept me a lot of company while I've been pregnant. So it's been my Instagram live fam, you know who you are. Yeah, so thanks. But that's basically my story. Let me know if you guys have experienced. First of all, I don't even need to say this, but because I already know that 99% of y'all are gonna tell me a story about a time something happened to you like this. It doesn't have to be an apartment. It can be a time you were at a restaurant. It can be anything. So just let a bitch know. Anyway, you guys, I love you all, and I'll definitely see you in the next one.